What you have to ask yourself is, what direction am I going? I mean, who you are, who all of us are, our source energy, we have it within us. But the problem is that we walk away from it. It's like you can't walk away from what you are. And what you are has a spark of God in you. And the best way to know that when it isn't ego, these two forces, the Kabbalah teaches us that there are two forces. There's the force of light and there's a force of dark. And it's all the same force. But basically, it's like, what direction is it going? When it is moving towards hatred and bitterness and anger and judgment and resentment, and fear and anxiety and stress and pain and so on. When you are moving in that direction, and I believe this and have written about this myself.
Wayne Dyer was an icon in self-development and spiritual growth. He wrote over 40 books, including an astonishing 21 New York Times bestsellers. His childhood was spent in orphanages and foster homes, but he'd go on to inspire millions and become known as the father of motivation. In this exclusive radio show provided by our partners at Hay House, Wayne Dyer explains how to overcome hardships, use gratitude to grow, and enter a state of bliss. And if you want even more great Hay House content, check out their YouTube channel. We've linked it up down in the description below.
Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us for the show Wishes Fulfilled with Dr. Wayne Dyer. And we just opened up the phone lines, and Dr. Wayne Dyer is joining us from Maui after a very busy couple of weeks.
Let's grab somebody.
So let's start in Portland and go to Janie on line 1, and she's in Portland, Oregon.
Hi, Jeannie.
Hello. Oh,
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you, my dear?
I am good. Thank you for taking my call.
You're very welcome.
So I'm in the middle of writing a book, and I guess genre-wise, it's kind of a wellness memoir. And it started out, I was going to write a whole different book really about listening to your intuition, and it still is hugely about that and following it and letting, that inner guidance from above, let that lead your life and how it brings you through life. And, a lot of what you basically, I think, teach, but through my story. And, when I was young, I was like 17 when I started writing letters to God. And each time I wrote, I felt so much better. And then I would take them and just immediately go burn them in the fireplace. And when I was 25, my brother died. And I actually bought a hardcover book and started writing in that and just couldn't bear to throw what I'd written away. So now, 27 years later and 41 journals later, I'm writing this. And I did go down to Hay House and take their workshop. And Jennifer Grace, who I think you might know, is doing a book proposal class. I'm doing that, and I'm following what she's saying to do to get this book proposal done. And it's just, what little gist of the story is, I was married for 26 years, had a really beautiful life. We were kind of the nucleus of our family, our friends, nieces, nephews. And then my husband went in and had an affair with a 27-year-old girl, which was our oldest daughter's age. So we were just broken apart. And if you can imagine a spider web, we were the center. Now there's all this brokenness. And as I'm going and reading through my journals to write my book, because I've actually have a beautiful life now, and it's been 2 years since my divorce, almost to today, I think, which is weird. And I have a really beautiful life, but everyone else, I feel like it's my family, my nieces, my nephews, friends, they're all still back in, they're trying to wrap their head around what even happened in the first place, and there's still all this brokenness. And it's almost like I'm at this point of writing where I need a little release somehow. And I don't know if you ever wrote something that, you're going back and reading and having a lot of awareness and writing it, and it's hard to write. How do you push yourself forward through that? And
I think the way to do that, Jeannie, is to see this 27-year-old person that your husband had an affair with as a gift from God, as a teacher. I did a film called My Greatest Teacher, which was really the story of my relationship and trying to find my father. And it turns out that what he did when I was a young boy and all of his horrible, crass behavior and so on were really the impetus for my being able to reach to higher and higher levels. And while you're reviewing that and looking at that in your writing and so on, instead of coming at it from a place of brokenness, come at it from a place of completeness, and realize that she was sent into your life probably to help you to first of all get to that place of freedom that you feel now, as a result of it. And secondly, to help you to look back upon it as you write about it, not from a place of oh, this is terrible and it shouldn't have happened, which is what so many of your family members are doing, but from a place of gratitude, of being in a space of gratitude, and write from that place of gratitude, and allow the divine guidance that brings to you, to come to you and to flow through you. And you'll watch your writing. You'll watch it. Because when I wrote, I can see clearly now, and I really encourage you to read that when it comes out.
Yes, I keep wanting to hear it and read it.
Especially in terms of what you are asking me about right now, because I did a lot of reliving as I went through that, and I began to write from, first I started to write from that place of the pain and the hurtfulness, like when my wife and I separated, or when I found out I had leukemia, or when I was living in an orphanage, and all of the kinds of things that have been benchmarks in my life. And I would find myself just feeling much more spiritual, much more peaceful when I looked at it as gifts rather than.
So going back to the phones, let's see, where should we go? Let's go to Kelly in Kansas City, Missouri on line 3. And Kelly, welcome to the show. You're on with Dr. Wayne Dyer today.
Hello. Thank you.
Hi, Kelly.
My call.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
Well, I just had a question. I know you've talked about your father and how you forgave him. I've heard the story many times that you told it. What I'm wondering is, I've been to that place actually it's with my husband. And, just things from the past. Okay, we need to get over it, and I really feel like I've forgiven and it's over, and let's move on. And then something will happen maybe a few weeks later. He has a very bad temper sometimes, so, that will come on again. And, the past 15 years of everything that I thought I forgave is all right back in my face. And I just so angry, and he can just really be very sweet and nice and then turn on a dime. And just my children are starting to be affected by it. My oldest child is, to the point where she doesn't even want to be around him. And it's a lot of anger in the house. So.
Yeah. Is there alcohol at all involved?
No, not really. No. I mean, actually, no, not at all. Every once in a while, he'll drink, but nothing, no.
But
not alcohol.
This temper thing, was it when you first met, before you were even married, and when you were, in that early stage of, what did you ever see that surface?
Actually, when I look back, yes. I mean, it's always been like this, and I think I had such low self-esteem that I just took it, and I've kind of gotten over that, worked on myself, and it's not quite as, it seems like it has dissipated, but it's a lot of times has now turned on my oldest daughter. So now I know exactly how she feels. I mean, she loves him, but in another way, she just hates him.
Does it ever go beyond just words?
Yeah, not really too physical, but just like pushing maybe once or twice. But just it can be very, very mean. And just even when he's not really angry, just little jabs and just... real quickly, what was his relationship, in a sentence or two, what was his relationship like to his father? His father, he really got along good up until recently, and now they still get along, but he drives him crazy. Pretty much everybody drives him crazy. But yeah, his father was, the way he describes him was nothing, very easygoing, like happy, and... Now, there was some alcohol involved with that, but very happy kind of a person.
Right. Okay. So what you're looking for, we only have a few minutes, so it's like what you're looking for is a way to deal with and live with someone who's got a bit of, bipolar is too strong a word because it sounds too technical and too diagnostic and so on, but basically that's what you're talking about. Someone who can just be on an even keel, can be up, can be happy and so on, and then something can trigger it and off he can go. And for some reason, he has come to believe that he has the right to abuse the people around him, especially the people that love him and care the most about him. Is that correct?
That is very correct, yes.
And he can do that with words and just an occasional pushing and so on, but just launch into one of those kinds of things. So what you need to understand is something I wrote about in my second book for the public, many years, called Pulling Your Own Strings, which I would recommend you read, by the way. It's called Pulling Your Own Strings. And basically my theory on all of this is that you get treated in life the way you teach people to treat you. So that rather than putting it on him, because if you're waiting for him to change in order for you to be happy, you might just be consigning yourself to the role of victim for the rest of your life.
Right.
So what you want to do is stop teaching him that it's okay for him to, even if he has his, all the reasons within him, and to be able to, this person is wrong. His own father drives him crazy. His daughter drives him crazy. You drive him crazy, whatever it might be. And he thinks that it's somebody else that is doing all of this to him. He is basically just reacting that way, because I guarantee you that he wouldn't, if I were at your home and a guest in your home, he wouldn't do that to me. He wouldn't yell at me.
No.
There are lots and lots of places where he absolutely knows how to control himself when he's frustrated. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't do that at work, or not very often, because he wouldn't be at work if he did. So he really has within him the tools to know how to suppress that and to just overlook it. But when it comes to certain people, he just has given himself the right to do that. And the only reason he's got the right to do that is because you've given him permission to do it for whatever reason, in whatever form that you've given that permission. I know you don't want it. I know that it's not something that you're looking for, but you have taught him that you're willing to treat. So what you want to do is embark on a program to teach him that kind of behavior is no longer tolerable in your life, that you've taught him that you're willing to put up with that in whatever way that you have done it over the years, and same with your daughter and same with your father-in-law. But now what you're going to do is teach him something new, so that when the next time that he does this and has one of these outbursts and so on, I would talk about it with him when he's not in one of those places,
Right.
when you're having dinner or whatever, and just say that I have decided that I'm not going to, when you have one of those emotional breakdowns and so on, and start yelling at either me or our children or whomever, that I'm not going to put up with that anymore. It causes me too much pain. And I just want you to know that what I'm going to do is, when I see it surfacing, is I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave the premises. No matter how inconvenient it is, no matter what it is, I'm going to not stay in the presence and allow you to do that. And I'm going to also tell our daughter that that's what she's going to do as well. And even when you see it just beginning to surface, you stand up and you just say, excuse me, I'm just not going to be here right now. And you leave. You lock yourself in the bathroom. You go to the car. You go, drive yourself someplace. You walk out of the house. Whatever it may be, no matter how embarrassing it may be, now you're going to fundamentally change the way that you teach this man to treat you. Ultimately, if he, gets even worse, then you just say, okay, I just don't choose to live under these conditions any longer. And I'm going to get divorced, or I'm going to separate. I'm no longer willing to be the victim of a person who knows how to control these things under certain circumstances, but chooses not to when he's with me and our family. It's a choice that he is making, not that he's got a personality defect that he that's unless he's just going around doing this to strangers and things like that. It doesn't sound like that's
No,
that's the
he's
situation.
completely the opposite with other people.
Yeah.
Other people
Right.
that know him wouldn't believe that in a minute. They'd think he's the greatest, nicest guy.
And I might even play this back to him. Because you can go online and this will play all week, this show, and you might even play it for him. This is like I called in, nobody knows your name or anything, and this was the question I had, and this was the response, and I'm going to try, and this is what I'm going to do. Does that sound sensible to you, or something that you could do, or?
Yes, it does. Yeah, it's almost like I needed somebody to say it because it's kind of what I was thinking in the back of my mind.
Right.
Like, I can't just sit here and
and
listen and do
See,
this.
I raised my children this way. I always told them if they would raise their voice, if they'd get frustrated, they'd yell at their mother, they'd yell at me, or whatever it might be. And children do these things, and teenagers do these things, and so on. And if they would ever direct those kinds of comments towards me, I would just put up my hand and I'd say, wait a minute, we'll hold it right there. I have too much respect for myself to allow anybody to talk to me in that fashion. It isn't because I think you're so bad. It's just like, this is such an affront to who I am, that I'm no longer going to allow this to do. And when I would raise put my hand up to put a stop to that, it would stop. No, Dad doesn't put up with this because he respects himself.
Right.
Now, Mom has got to respect herself enough to be willing to do this because, it's ultimately going to lead down an even worse road. It's going to, as long as he knows that he can get away with this and you're going to stick around, it'll continue.
Right.
And you can do this very nicely and very quickly. When he starts behaving that way, you just get up, you go get in the car, drive, go for a walk, go into the bathroom if you can't, just lock the door in there and just stay, until it's over with. And you'll teach him very, very quickly that this is not something that I'm willing to tolerate for one reason and one reason only, I have too much respect for myself to allow anybody to talk disrespectfully to me.
Awesome.
That's my advice.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. And by the way, when you change the atmosphere like that and do that, you will impact him. If you react with anger to yourself and allow, get into arguments and tell him I don't want to do this, and you may have things that just that come out that you don't want to come out. You have to remember that if you don't eliminate darkness in your life, and this is darkness that you're talking about. You don't eliminate darkness by throwing more darkness at it. You eliminate it by throwing light at it, and that's what I'm asking you to do: throw light at it. Like, teach him, I'm not going to allow myself to be placed into this darkness any longer. And it's like the line I've said so many times on this show over the years that when Jesus would walk into a village, just his presence in the village and nothing more would elevate the consciousness of everyone in the village. You can elevate the consciousness of the people in your home by being a being of love and a being who refuses to allow this kind of behavior, because it's darkness coming at light, and light will always end darkness, but darkness never ends light.
Right. Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear. God bless you. In Kansas City, what's the temperature there?
Oh, about 12.
About 12?
Maybe, if I'm lucky.
All right. Yeah.
I try not to go out there today, so.
Well, thanks for calling. I love talking to you, and I hope that helps.
Oh, it does immensely.
Yeah.
You don't even know.
Thanks.
So thank you so much.
Thank you, dear. God bless you. Namaste.
And let's see if we can get to a few other people. Some really good calls
Sure.
today.
Good.
Interesting questions. And let's go to Jeanette on line 8, and she's calling from New Jersey.
Hi, Dr. Dyer. I'm so excited to hear your voice today. And it's
Thank
snowing
you.
here in Montclair, New Jersey. We're stuck in the house. The kids are outside enjoying the snow. So I'm so excited we connected this today.
I am too. It's great to hear from you in New Jersey. Listen, I'm going to close all the lanes down to all the bridges in your state. What is that? What do you think?
No. Oh, boy, that would be that.
That poor guy is he's really dealing with it now, isn't he?
Oh, he sure is. They're all coming out now.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. But my question is, I just closed my toy store in October, and I've always read all of your books, have seen all your PBS specials, and have been trying to practice more and more what you talk about. And lately, I wanted to ask, how do you know when, you're actually connected to Source? Sometimes I know it's a wonderful, warm feeling, but I wanted to hear your description of it when you do sit and meditate and actually connect.
Well, the truth is you're always connected. What you have to ask yourself is, what direction am I going? I mean, who you are, who all of us are, our source energy. We have it within us. But the problem is that we walk away from it, but it's like you can't walk away from what you are. And what you are, it has a spark of God in you. And the best way to know that when it isn't ego, because ego is the part, it's like there are like these two forces. The Kabbalah teaches us that there are two forces. There's the force of light and there's a force of dark. And it's all the same force. I mean, but basically it's like, what direction is it going? When it is moving towards, hatred and bitterness and anger and judgment and resentment and fear and anxiety and stress and pain and so on, when you are moving in that direction, it's still, and I believe this and have written about this myself, that it's still love, but it's moving away from your source. Here's how I look at it. And then there's the other direction when you're moving toward it. So it's like, just picture the hands of a clock, okay? And at the top is there's two hands on the clock, okay? There's the minute hand and the hour hand. And you're born when both of them are right at the 12, right? So you can get a little metaphor of this in your mind. So now the not the hour hand, but the minute hand starts moving in the direction of towards, away from its source. The hour hand stays there. That's your source. And you are now moving. So you go past the 1 and you go past the 2 and you're moving away from your source. So this whole side all the way down to the 6 is each minute that goes by, or each hour, however you want to call it, that goes by, as you hit the 2 and as you hit the 3, 4, 5, this is all movement away from where you originated. You originated from a source of love, of perfect love, a source of what we call oneness, which means there's no opposites. The opposite of joy when you're in the ego state is sadness. But when you're in divine love, there's no opposite of joy. Everything is just joy, but you're not there because you're moving away until you get to the 6. And now you're at the 6. And this is when you're furthest away from your source. This is when you're at the lowest point in your life. This is when you feel that you've fallen as far as you can go. The anger, the hurt, the resentment, the pain is so deep there. And now you have a choice. You can either stay, you've moved away, taken on all this ego, believe that who you are is all the stuff that you own and all of the people that you're mad at and all the judgments that you have towards others. But now you're at 6. Now you can either stay there because the hand doesn't go backwards. It won't go back to the 5, 4. It doesn't work that way. You have to now start coming the other way. Now you're going to the 7 and the 8, and now you're coming home. And it's when you're on this side, when you're coming home back to where you originated from, you're heading back towards perfect love. And divine love is the kind of love that was your origination point. And this is when you know that you're connected. It's not whether you're there perfect, because as long as you're in a human body, there's going to be some separation. There's going to be opposites. And as long as you're on this planet, there's going to be east and west, and north and south, and up and down, and male and female, and good and bad. All of these dichotomies that we all experience and these paradoxes. But ultimately, when you get back to the 12, when you rejoin it, what happens is you fuse these dichotomies. And you're in a place where there's only love. There's no opposite. And as you start to look out at the world and see people behaving in certain ways, you still only have love, because that's all that you are as you're connecting yourself back. And you'll find yourself slipping when you're at the 8 and when you're at the 9, at the 10. But the closer you get to reuniting yourself with your source of being, the more that you will experience just feelings of bliss and love and kindness and joy. And when you're not, it's probably because you've got thoughts of judgment and criticism and condemnation towards some of God's children or some of the creations that we have or that you run into. And when you get rid of the judgment and the condemnation and the criticism, you're at the 7 and you're coming home. So the question isn't whether or not, you're with your source. The question is, what direction are you moving? Are you moving away from what you originated from? Because when you originated, I just saw something that's gone viral on the internet that my kid sent me. I'm thinking about posting it. I did post it on my Facebook page. It's of a little baby. And this baby is laughing at a dog that somebody's throwing popcorn at this little dog. And the baby's maybe 7 or 8 months old, if that. And it's just laughing. It's just it can't stop laughing. It's like it's at such bliss that it's this laughter. And it's like, William Wordsworth, a very famous English poet, said that our birth is but a sleep and a forgetting. Heaven lies about us in our infancy. And knowing that you're with Source is remembering who you are, remembering where you came from, knowing that you don't, when you came into this world, you had no judgment. You just, you just were here, and you were just accepting, and your mom put her breast in your mouth, and you were just content and happy and gurgling and all of that. And then you took on this ego, and then you starting to believe, and then comparing yourself and trying to be better than other people, trying to accumulate more stuff than other people. All of this is movement away. And now you start coming home, and you become more and more like God, which is really just where you become a being of sharing, because that's what God is. God just offers us everything in the universe, whatever it is, the source that we came from. It's just a source of abundance, and it doesn't ask for anything in return. It just allows anything to be. And the more and more you find yourself doing those things, that's when you're reconnecting, or at least you're heading back to the source. And when you ultimately get back to the 12, this is when you just shed your body, and we call it death, but this is the place that we call immortality. That's what Emily Dickinson called it. She says, because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. This is when you start to realize that who you are is this, you're not a human being having a spiritual experience. It's the other way around. You're this infinite spiritual being with a soul who's just having a little temporary human experience. And the closer and closer you get back to the 12, the more you know you're with Source. Long answer, but it's. I hope that made sense.
No, it did. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Oh, God bless you, dear. Thanks for calling today.
And we have just a minute, but I think time for one quick one.
Okay.
Slide one
I didn't
more
realize
person
it was
in.
that close. Okay.
Yeah, just 3 minutes. So let's
3
grab
minutes is
Kent real quick from Toronto. He's on line 2 and has been very patient holding. And Kent, we have just a few minutes, but you're on with Dr. Dyer.
Oh, hi. Thank you.
Hey, Kent.
Hi. How are you? I'm actually not in Toronto. I was in come and see you in Maui in Divine Love last weekend, which I really enjoyed.
Oh, I'm so glad. What did you think?
It was great. And then, so I'm just staying with some friends in Honolulu, so I'm still enjoying your weather for now, and then I'm going to go back to minus 25 soon. But no, I loved it because with, say, Scarlett and Ilibagiza, they were talking about forgiveness, which kind of reminded me to forgive myself and forgive others. And then with Anita and Mary, they were talking more about, reminding me who I really am, which is divine love. So, but anyway, it was just great. It was just a great atmosphere. I really enjoyed.
Do you have still the hangover effect of it? Is it? Are you still feeling it? Because it's been over a week for me, and I've just been walking around awash and like I'm in a bowl of soup, that is called love. I mean, everything I look at it really impacted me that way.
Yeah, no, it's just very, like a joyful state or a blissful state, or just constantly reminding me who I really am. So not like I just loved the prior caller when you were talking about when I find myself in anger or frustration, to remind myself of compassion and kindness and joyfulness, and it takes me to another place. So, and when you said about that chapter 16, I reread Mary's chapter 16, and it's such a great reminder of who we really are. It makes me tingle when I read it, right?
It's called Out of the Blue, and Hay House, I talked to Reed, and who's a president of Hay House, and he's agreed that we're going to publish it. We're going to help her get the first parts of it edited, but it's very, very powerful. It's very seldom that I ever... Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I'm looking forward to that. So I came to see you in San Diego, the taping of I Can See Clearly Now, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'll probably see myself in the audience next week.
You will, definitely, yeah.
That was very good, too. So,
well, good.
Yeah.
And
no,
that
I just
was
wanted
after...
to thank you. I had a great weekend. It was very enjoyable, and it was a great feeling. So I just wanted to thank you thank you for putting that on.
I'm so happy that you were there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I'm so glad to hear from someone who was actually there, and to see if it had the leftover effect that it's had on me. I'm just seeing love everywhere, even in my sore neck. I'm seeing love. What about that?
I think I got a sore neck too, so I'll have to look for the love in that too.
Yeah.
But that's
well,
great.
thanks
I
for
just
calling.
wanted to quickly call and thank you very much for that weekend.
Well, I thank you, and I appreciate it. God bless you, my friend.
Very
Namaste.
good. Some great callers, and we will connect next week.
I hope so.
To watch another amazing Wayne Dyer video, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Guilt is the opposite of that. Guilt is using up the present moment to be concerned about something that you did or didn't do or should have done or didn't do right, but you're still doing it in the present moment. So worry and guilt, in my book, Your Erroneous Zones, I call these the useless emotion.